When Jasmine Miller and I got divorced, she humiliated me in front of everyone. Liam Johnson is my pathetic doormat, she announced. Without me, he'll never find a wife as beautiful as I am in his entire life. Just wait, she added. He'll come crawling back to me within 3 months, begging me to take him back. What she didn't count on was that 3 months later, I'd have a new girlfriend, a sweetly manipulative one. My new girlfriend, Claire, took a picture of me sleeping and posted it on her Instagram story, setting the privacy so only Jasmine could see it. My man is so handsome, I just have to show him off. So proud to be his. When I found out, she twisted her fingers, her face a mask of guilt. Liam, I'm sorry. I just love you so much, I couldn't help but brag a little. When Jasmine, furious, came to confront her, Claire beamed gratefully. You're an absolute saint, letting a man this wonderful go. Honestly, thank you. Jasmine was so enraged, she slapped her. Claire immediately called the police, then phoned me, her voice trembling pitifully. Babe, I'm okay, really. It doesn't even hurt. I just feel so bad that a woman her age doesn't seem to understand that assault is a crime. I never thought the first time I'd see Jasmine after the divorce would be at a police precinct. The moment she saw me, she stormed over, yelling, Liam, it's only been 6 months and you've already replaced me? Are you even human? She looked at me expectantly. You better explain yourself, or I will never forgive you. Jasmine was as beautiful as ever, and as usual, she was treating me like her personal doormat, devoid of any dignity. For the 3 years we were married, I gave her everything. My entire paycheck went to her, I did all the chores, and I couldn't stand to see her upset for even a second. She, in turn, saw me as nothing more than an ATM and used the threat of divorce as her go-to weapon. She was obsessed with some actor, calling him her husband online, while my contact name in her phone was roommate. She didn't work, but she loved luxury shopping, blowing through my entire salary every single month. When I tried to suggest she rein it in a little, she'd fly into a rage. What's the point of me marrying you if you can't support me? When I hit a rough patch at work and was passed over for a promotion, she offered no comfort, only contempt. You're such a loser. My best friend's husband pulls in millions a year. Marrying you was the worst trade down of my life. I kept telling myself to be patient, hoping she'd one day be the kind, loving woman I fell for back in college. Then, I overheard her on the phone with her friend. Honestly, if his dad hadn't been the dean of the university, I never would have given him the time of day. And it turns out his dad doesn't even have that much pull. I should have just found a trust fund baby from the start. A girl as pretty as me is doing him a favor by being his wife. Does he really expect me to do laundry and cook for him, too? A chill went down my spine. I was utterly crushed. It was never about love. For her, our marriage was just a cold, calculated transaction. She was so self-absorbed, she never noticed the growing distance between us. Instead, she doubled down, demanding that my parents sign over their monthly retirement checks to her. What do those two old people need all that money for? Everyone's parents help support the younger generation. If they don't agree, we're getting a divorce. Fine, let's get a divorce, I said, my voice flat. This time, I didn't back down. Jasmine stared at my cold expression, unable to believe I was serious. But, not one to lose face, she slapped a divorce agreement in front of me that would leave me with nothing. The house was hers, the car was hers, and I had to pay off the remaining loans in one lump sum. I looked at the agreement. It was basically highway robbery, and signed it without a second of hesitation. In her eyes, this was just a pathetic little rebellion from her loyal doormat. She was certain that within 3 months, I'd be back, tail between my legs, begging for her forgiveness. She never understood that for the past 3 years, every time I apologized to her, it wasn't because I was wrong. It was simply because I loved her. They say loving someone is like tending to a flower. Giving her everything in the divorce was my final act of devotion. Back in the precinct, facing Jasmine's predictable hysterics, I gave her a single, emotionless glance. I ignored her completely and walked over to Claire. Claire was sitting in the corner, the picture of innocence. She looked up at me with wide, cautious eyes. Liam, I'm so sorry. I made your ex-wife angry. I could tell she was putting on an act. Men aren't as dumb as some people think. Claire wasn't as conventionally beautiful as Jasmine, but she was a master at playing the fragile victim. After 3 years of Jasmine's constant drama, I was exhausted. Especially when I was stressed from work, she would start a massive fight over the smallest thing, always threatening divorce. It was mentally and physically draining. So, Claire's gentle act was, frankly, a relief. It didn't feel exploitative, and it saved me the energy of having to constantly soothe someone's ego, letting me focus on my career. Most of the time, I just played along with her sweet, manipulative games. I took her small, cold hand in mine. "Are you hurt anywhere?" I asked softly. "My head feels a little dizzy. I don't know if he rattled my brain or something," she said, looking at me pitifully. She turned to the officer. "Excuse me, can I request a formal medical examination?" Seeing this, Jasmine looked like she was about to explode. She lunged toward us, her hand raised to strike Claire again, but I caught her wrist. Her eyes were wide with disbelief, her body trembling with rage. "Liam, you're protecting her." "He's the best to me," Claire chirped, adding fuel to the fire. She gazed at me with pure adoration before adding, "Wow, your ex-wife is so aggressive. You must have had it so rough all these years, Liam. I could never imagine being so mean to you." Jasmine looked like she was about to have an aneurysm. She glared at me, her voice dripping with scorn. "So, this is your type now, Liam? This manipulative, two-faced tramp? Your taste has really hit rock bottom." Claire just smiled sweetly, and yet, he was willing to give up everything in the divorce just to not be with the elegant and beautiful Ms. Miller. "All right, that's enough," the officer interjected, cutting through the argument. "Are we going for mediation, or are you pressing charges?" "Officer, this woman is a home wrecker. She destroyed my family. I had every right to hit her," Jasmine shouted. I frowned. "Don't just make things up. Claire and I only got together after we were divorced. Regardless of who she is, you don't have the right to assault someone," the officer said sternly. But Jasmine couldn't grasp that. When she was angry, she used to scratch me until I was covered in bloody marks. Given the difference in our strength, I was always afraid of hurting her, so I never fought back. She had gotten used to getting her way. She probably assumed that the moment Claire saw how beautiful she was, Claire would feel inadequate and leave me alone. She never expected Claire to be the type who wouldn't back down, who would call the police on her. The officer turned to Claire. "You're the victim here. What do you want to do?" "I'm not sure if I have any internal injuries. I like a full medical checkup. Ms. Miller should be responsible for the costs, right?" Claire said, her face a mask of concern. The officer nodded. Jasmine snorted. "Pathetic. Are you that broke? Here, I'll slap you again and pay for 10 checkups. Also," Claire continued, ignoring her, "I want a formal apology from Ms. Miller." "In your dreams," Jasmine scoffed. The officer looked at Jasmine. "Assault carries a penalty of 5 to 10 days detention and a fine of $200 to $500. If you can get the victim to sign a waiver, you can avoid detention." Jasmine's eyes widened slightly. After a moment of internal debate, she gritted her teeth and spat out a reluctant, "I'm sorry," to Claire. "Oh, I'm sorry," Claire said with a cheerful smile. "I don't accept." "You." Jasmine stared at Claire, livid. "You bitch, you're just messing with me, aren't you?" "First of all," Claire began, ticking off points on her fingers, "I'm not sure if I'm injured or not. Secondly, even if I'm physically fine, you assaulted me and then slandered me by calling me a home wrecker. That has caused me irreparable psychological damage. I'm going to the hospital for a checkup now. You could just wait here at the precinct." After getting the officer's approval, Claire turned to leave. I followed, right behind her. Jasmine stared at my back, her voice desperate. "Liam, can't you see she's doing this on purpose to set me up? Ms. Miller, if you hadn't hit me, how could you possibly be detained? You can't believe everyone is like Liam, willing to just stand there and take your abuse, can you?" Claire said, her tone earnest. "You shut up. Liam, say something. Are you really going to stand there and watch them detain me?" A flicker of tears appeared in Jasmine's eyes, as if she couldn't comprehend that I would side with Claire. After all, from the day we started dating, I had spoiled her rotten, with no boundaries. No matter how unreasonable she was, even when she hit me during a tantrum, I always just took it and coaxed her gently. I was silent for a long moment before I finally said, "Jasmine, we're divorced." Jasmine froze. She used to throw the word divorce around more casually then she said hello. Now, for what seemed like the first time, she was realizing what it actually meant. I found it almost laughable, the shocked look on her face, as if I was somehow indispensable to her. She, who always claimed she was too young and beautiful and that marrying me was a step down, now had her freedom. What was there to be unhappy about? Outside the precinct, Claire watched my face carefully. "Liam," she asked softly, "are you mad that I got your ex-wife arrested? If you feel bad for her, I can choose to drop the charges." I could see the apprehension in her eyes, and this time, it wasn't an act. She genuinely believed I would feel sorry for Jasmine. Claire was a high school classmate of mine. My reputation as being completely whipped by my wife was well known. Some classmates even gossiped that Jasmine must have put a spell on me. I remember one class reunion, Jasmine had maxed out my credit cards, and when it came time to pay my $50 share of the bill, I couldn't cover it. I was mercilessly teased that night. They all said I was a failure, making a solid six-figure salary, but unable to afford a simple dinner. It was Claire who quietly paid my share and saved me from the embarrassment. I smiled faintly and ruffled Claire's hair. "And let you take a slap for nothing? A little hardship for me is fine," she said, her long eyelashes fluttering. Her voice dropped. "I just don't want to make things difficult for you. It just makes me so angry. Why didn't she appreciate you at all?" I stiffened. For a second, I was back in my own head, asking myself that same question over and over for years. Why didn't Jasmine appreciate me at all? I didn't think I had the right to influence Claire's decision. Besides, if it wasn't for me, she wouldn't have been slapped in the first place. I looked at her frankly. "Do whatever you want to do. You don't have to consider my feelings." Even if Claire let Jasmine sit in a holding cell for 10 days, it was perfectly legal and justified. Jasmine had never held a job. With her current attitude, if it wasn't Claire teaching her a lesson, someone else would down the line. I drove Claire to the hospital on my electric scooter. She dutifully put on the helmet, wrapped her arms around my waist, and rested her head against my back. The fresh scent of her hair filled the air, and I couldn't help but smile. When we divorced, Jasmine got the Tesla. I bought a used e-scooter to get to work. After the split, a bunch of classmates, eager to celebrate my liberation, kept trying to set me up on dates. I wasn't interested, but to avoid being rude, I'd occasionally agree to meet someone for dinner, always showing up on my scooter. Most women would see the scooter and frown. The more direct ones would just turn and walk away on the spot. Even if we made it through dinner, there was never a follow-up. I wasn't in a rush to date anyway. The blind dates were just to appease my well-meaning friends, so I didn't care. But Claire was different. When we met up to visit our old high school homeroom teacher, who was sick, she noticed my helmet was old and cracked. The next day, she gave me a brand new one. "A brain this smart needs to be protected," she had said with a grin. I was a top student in high school and often helped her with homework. I was surprised she still remembered. Later, a mutual friend told me that Claire had a secret crush on me all through high school. She had never dated anyone, telling everyone she was a happy single. But she was always exceptionally kind to me. After my divorce, she often invited me out hiking to clear my head. One time, we got caught in a sudden downpour on the trail. I gave her my jacket to shield her from the rain, and she suddenly stopped walking. The mountain air was thick with mist, and water droplets clung to her eyelashes. Her damp eyes looked straight at me. "Liam, do you want to be with me?" My breath hitched. "Don't joke around, Claire," I said softly. "I'm a divorced guy. I can't drag you down with me." Just like Jasmine had said, I gave up everything. I had nothing. No woman would want me. I was an older, divorced man, a failure at work who couldn't get promoted, a mama's boy who wouldn't touch his parents' retirement savings. But I don't see it that way. Claire, who was usually so gentle, suddenly spoke with a voice that seemed to echo through the mountains. "In my eyes, Liam Johnson is the best man in the world. The fact that you gave her everything shows you're loyal and compassionate, which means you'd never betray me. The fact that you were passed over for promotion but still work so hard shows you have responsibility and ambition, and I believe you'll succeed one day. The fact that you won't touch your parents' retirement savings shows you're a good son. If a man can't even show basic respect to his own parents, what kind of man is he? I really, really like you. If you say no, is it because—" Her eyes blinked, and a tear suddenly rolled down her cheek. "Is it because you're still not over your ex-wife?" I paused, then instinctively pulled her into my arms. After we finished at the hospital and we're on our way back to my apartment, I got a call from an unrecognized number. I answered it, and it was Jasmine calling from the precinct's landline. Liam, Claire's playing you. My brow furrowed. Claire said gently, you should take that. I'm just going to pop into the grocery store to grab something for dinner tonight. I nodded, watching her walk away before pulling my scooter over to the curb. Jasmine, if I were you, I'd be focused on getting Claire to drop the charges, not wasting time calling me. Are you really going to let her walk all over me like this? Jasmine demanded, her voice rising. You're a heartless, cheating bastard, helping another woman hurt me. I sighed, a heavy, suffocating feeling pressing on my chest. We're divorced, Jasmine. If we're talking about who the other woman is, that would be you. Claire is my girlfriend. And besides, why are you the one at the precinct and not her? Because hitting someone is against the law. Can you not see that the problem is with you? Jasmine retorted, I'm not an idiot. I know the law. But what about her? She posted a picture of you sleeping. That's a violation of your privacy. Why don't you sue her? I almost laughed out of sheer frustration. I took a few deep breaths to calm myself, because she was showing me off, not the litany of luxury goods I bought for her. And you know what? It made me feel good. Jasmine's social media was a carefully curated shrine to her pseudo-aristocratic lifestyle. Endless photos of fancy afternoon teas, designer bags, and jewelry. She never posted a single picture of me. She would show off the things my money bought, while simultaneously complaining that I didn't make as much as her friend's husband, which she found embarrassing. There was a moment of silence on the line. Then Jasmine's tone softened, a rare show of vulnerability. Liam, you've been fooled. She's a classic, manipulative, sweet-talking snake. You're too straightforward to see it, but I can spot her games from a mile away. She's just playing the victim to get your sympathy. I gripped my phone, my knuckles turning white. And what exactly do I have that's worth scamming? The other end of the line went silent. In the divorce, she got the house and the car. My entire salary for years had been spent by her. When I first brought Claire to my small rental apartment, my heart was pounding. I was terrified she would be like Jasmine, disgusted by how small and run down it was. I'm sorry, I told Claire, filled with shame. I promise I'll work hard to buy us a big house. But Claire didn't seem to care at all. She turned and wrapped her arms around my neck, her voice laced with concern. Liam, I'm worried about your health. More than a big house, I just want you to work less overtime. I remember Jasmine once saying that if she had to live in a rental apartment, she'd rather be dead. When I was working myself to the point of heart palpitations and wanted to take a vacation, all she said was, isn't a man's job to make money? Stop being so dramatic. But Claire said she wanted me to take care of myself, to live a long life so we could grow old together. In that moment, it felt like she had started to heal the 1,000 cuts on my soul. It turns out a man without a house or a fancy car is still worthy of genuine love. Over the phone, Jasmine was still relentless. Then why are you with her? She's not as pretty as me. Her family's average. She's not good enough for you. I sighed. Jasmine, being together isn't a beauty pageant. To me, looks aren't that important. Of course, Claire wasn't ugly by any means. She didn't have Jasmine's flashy beauty. She was the gentle, pretty girl next door type. Jasmine clung to her bizarre logic. I don't believe you. All men are visual creatures. Why else would you have been so in love with me? I tried to refocus. Did you just call me to trash talk my girlfriend? I'm just worried about you. I couldn't help but find that funny. Jasmine was worried about me. She wasn't worried I'd work myself to death when she demanded I get a second job to pay for her luxury bags. She wasn't worried about my health when she forced me to go shopping with her after I'd pulled an all-nighter at the office. She wasn't worried about my feelings when she was complaining to her friends that I was just her doormat, her personal ATM, and now that we were divorced, she was worried about me. You don't need to worry about me, I said flatly. We have our own separate lives now. I wish you all the best in getting the life you've always wanted. Don't hang up. Jasmine sounded desperate, as if she was finally realizing I was truly gone. You promised my father you would take care of me. Jasmine was adopted. Her adoptive mother passed away when she was young, and she was raised by her adoptive father alone. I knew she had a difficult childhood, which was a big reason I spoiled her so relentlessly. It wasn't because she was beautiful as she thought. At our wedding, she looked like a queen in her pure white gown, breathtakingly beautiful. I thought it would be the happiest day of my life. But when the wedding car arrived at my family's home for the reception, she refused to get out. Add another $20,000 to the wedding gift. Liam, if you want to marry me, show some sincerity. Jasmine, I pleaded in a low voice. I already transferred the $50,000 you asked for to your account. Please, just get out of the car. My parents are watching. Her makeup was flawless, but her expression was icy. I'm the one who will have to give birth to our children. My career and my body will both suffer. I'm sacrificing more. So what's wrong with asking for a little more money? My mom came to the car and tried to reason with her. Honey, after the wedding, we'll give you all the gift money from the guests. Guest gifts are guest gifts. My wedding gift is my wedding gift. That money is my personal property. Are you trying to trick me? Relatives standing nearby started whispering. I could hear snippets. I've never seen someone demand more money on the wedding day. This isn't a marriage, it's a business deal. Did Liam get caught in a scam? I heard they were college sweethearts. She has him completely wrapped around her finger. No one understood her. They all looked down on her behavior. Only I knew that she was adopted, that she'd never known the warmth of stable family, and was deeply insecure. Swallowing my pride, I borrowed money from my groomsmen to scrape together the $20,000 for Jasmine. Only then did the wedding proceed. I drank a lot that day. Her elderly adoptive father held my hand and made me promise to take good care of her. I agreed, of course, and every year after that, I sent him a substantial amount of money. But Jasmine treated my own parents like they were invisible, with a coldness that bordered on contempt. When my mother was sick in hospital, she stood by the bed with a disgusted look on her face. Liam, she's your mom. Why should I have to take care of her? I never forced her. I hired a nurse for the daytime and went to the hospital myself after work to stay the night. Even then, Jasmine would find new ways to mock me, calling me a mama's boy and accusing me of outsourcing my filial piety. Now on the phone, I scoffed. I try to be good to you. It's a shame you didn't value it. Jasmine, I can't help you. And I won't. I hung up and went back to my apartment. Claire was in the kitchen, and a bowl of steaming, creamy tomato soup was already on the table. Taste it first, see if you like it. I came up behind her and wrapped my arms around her, resting my head on her shoulder. We probably have to go to the precinct again tomorrow, I murmured. What are you thinking? Claire's back stiffened. She turned off the stove and looked at me. She thought I was about to ask her to let Jasmine go. A flash of disappointment crossed her eyes, but she hid it well. Liam, if I said that I want Jasmine to face the consequences, that she might be detained for 10 days, what would you think? I chuckled and gently pinched her nose. I would think that I'm very happy you're not sacrificing your own feelings for my sake. The next day, I went with Claire to the precinct. When we saw Jasmine, she looked like she had aged 10 years overnight. Her makeup was smudged, her eyeliner creating dark circles around her eyes. She looked exhausted, but her gaze was venomous. She glared at Claire. You won, didn't you, Claire? You must feel so proud of yourself. Does snatching up a man, I didn't even want to give you that much a thrill. Claire didn't respond. She simply stated her position to the officer. I will not accept any mediation. I just want Ms. Miller to be held accountable for her actions. Hearing this, Jasmine suddenly laughed. The sound was jarring in the serious atmosphere of the police station. She looked me in the eye, as if trying to summon the ghost of my past affection. Liam used to spoil me the most, she said softly. He worked 2 jobs, day and night, just to buy me a limited edition alligator skin handbag. When I craved a lobster dinner, no matter how tired he was from working overtime, he would go to the market, cook it, and then peel all the meat from the shell for me. A strange feeling washed over me. So she did know. Jasmine was always aware of everything I did for her. The difference was, unlike Claire, she believed she was entitled to all of it. Jasmine smiled and turned to Claire. Ms. Evans, with your strategy of playing the perpetual victim, of acting like the perfect sweet girl, you probably have no idea what real pampering feels like, do you? I squeezed Claire's hand, feeling how cold it had become. I was about to say something, but Claire spoke first, frowning as she looked at Jasmine with genuine curiosity. If Liam was so good to you, then why were you always threatening to divorce him? Did you really love him? If you loved him, how could you bear to watch him run himself into the ground for you? At least, I could never bear it. I just want him to be happy, and I trust that he won't let me down. I was worried Jasmine's tirade would upset Claire, but I was floored by her response. A wave of gratitude washed over me, and I laced my fingers tightly with hers. Jasmine used to always say that feeling sorry for a man was the beginning of your own misfortune. But in this world, what man is willing to be an unloved tool forever? Jasmine was unfazed. Seeing there was no room for negotiation, she dropped the act entirely. Love, what love? Liam is just a pathetic doormat I grew tired of. You can have him. I'd love to see what kind of wonderful life you two can build for yourselves with no house and no car. I had hoped this incident might teach her a lesson about her own vanity, but she was as selfish and narrow-minded as ever. I just shook my head as I heard Claire reply, with a calm smile, and I'd love to see if 10 days in detention can teach Ms. Miller a lesson. With that chapter closed, I threw myself back into work, determined to save up for a down payment as soon as possible. Claire didn't bother me. In fact, she was often busier than I was. She worked as a student affairs coordinator at a local university and was incredibly dedicated, constantly checking in on her students' academics and well-being. A few days later, it was Claire's birthday. That same day, the company CEO made a surprise visit to our branch, demanding data and reports. The entire department was in a frenzy. By the time I looked at the clock, it was late at night. I had missed her birthday dinner. I rushed to the restaurant, but the party was long over. Claire was sitting alone at a table covered with the remnants of the celebration, waiting for me. I'm so sorry. There was a crisis at work? I didn't mean to be this late. I crouched beside her, one step away from groveling on my knees. She just burst out laughing. Why are you so nervous? You're late. You're late. It's fine. I saved you some cake. I froze for a second. Right. Why am I so nervous? Because I was conditioned to believe that if I missed a girlfriend's birthday dinner, she would scream at me, curse me out, and lock me out of the house for the night. Claire had had a little wine, and her cheeks were flushed. She pushed a slice of birthday cake in front of me, like a treasured prize. I saved you the biggest and best piece, she said, and also. A wave of emotion hit me. On pure impulse, I pulled her into my arms and kissed her. Her face turned crimson, and she buried her head in my chest. I pulled out the gift I had ready for her, a ring I had made myself. But beneath the simple silver band, a hidden compartment held a 2-carat diamond ring I had bought with my quarterly bonus. I remember trying a similar trick with Jasmine once. I had put a cheap gift on top, with an expensive designer bracelet hidden underneath. But Jasmine's face fell the second she saw the gift, and before I could reveal the surprise, she had thrown the whole box in the trash. She only grudgingly apologized after I explained. Oh, I was just mad because I thought you were being cheap. You're the best, honey. When Claire saw the simple silver ring, she didn't get angry. Instead, her eyes welled up. Liam, you're so busy, and you still took the time to make a ring for me by hand. I'm so touched. Just then, the door to the private room swung open, and in walked Jasmine, who I hadn't seen in weeks. She was followed by a skinny guy dressed head to toe in knockoff luxury brands, who eyed me with hostility. I thought that was you too, she said, walking over to our table, as if she owned the place. She glanced at the gift on the table and smirked. So, a cheap little trinket is all Claire gets for her birthday. I told you, if you're willing to suffer, there will be no end to your suffering. But me, I'm different. I'm beautiful. There will always be a man to spoil me. Claire stood up, her cheeks puffed out in anger. Her eyes fell on the Tesla key fob in Jasmine's hand, then flickered to the man behind her. Suddenly, Claire asked, "If you're doing so well, Ms. Miller, why are you still driving the car Liam bought? Can't your new boyfriend afford to buy you one?" Jasmine's face clouded over. Claire pressed on. "Your boyfriend is covered in designer labels. He must be quite wealthy. Liam only gave you all his assets in the divorce because he was worried you couldn't support yourself. That agreement was incredibly unfair to him. Since you're doing so great now, why don't you give Liam back the property he's rightfully owed?" Jasmine's eyes widened. "That's all mine. We signed a legally binding agreement. Why on earth would I give it back?" Claire just propped her chin on her hand. "Oh," she said with a shrug. "So I guess you're not doing so well after all." The air was thick with tension. Jasmine was practically hyperventilating with rage. Her new boyfriend, ever the gentleman, put a theatrical arm around her. I silently gave Claire a mental high five. I was always impressed by how she never lost a battle. "Babe," I said softly, "look." I twisted the ring box in my hand, and with a soft click, I opened the hidden compartment. A brilliant, pure diamond flashed under the restaurant lights. Claire stared at the ring, then pointed at herself, so surprised it took her a moment to speak. "Liam, is that for me?" I nodded. "I want to give you the best," I said quietly. Jasmine's eyes burned with jealous fire. She bit her lip and stormed out without another word. Claire threw her arms around my neck. After a long moment, she pulled back and looked at me. "Leo, maybe we should sell the ring." I was taken aback. "Why?" She fidgeted. "I can just get a moissanite ring for a few $100. They look just as nice. I don't want you to spend so much money. We should save it to buy a house and a car." I smiled and stroked her hair. People say only a fool would fall for a girl who plays games. But only when you've experienced it do you realize. How could you call a girl this genuine, this refreshingly sincere, manipulative? "Buying a house and car is my job," I told her. "You don't worry about it. You just focus on being my princess." After getting a new boyfriend, Jasmine started posting nonstop about their relationship on Facebook. One day she'd post, "You never know how beautiful life can be until you leave the wrong person." The accompanying photo was of her new boyfriend dyeing her hair at home. This was the same woman who used to frequent high-end salons and spend thousands on hair treatments. Now, she was apparently fine with a box-dye job that left her hair looking brassy and fried. The next day, she posted, "You used to say I was materialistic, but now I know that a simple life is the truest happiness." The picture was of her boyfriend sitting on the floor, fashioning a tote bag for her out of an old button-down shirt. I frowned. Claire leaned over my shoulder. "You're not getting jealous, are you?" "What? No, of course not. It's just, something feels off." Sigh. Claire let out a dramatic sigh. "It's understandable to be upset seeing your ex show off her new life. If you want, I can go leave a nasty comment for you." I was stunned. "Why are you so okay with this?" She stuck her tongue out playfully. "I just can't stand to see you sad, can I?" Before I could object, she grabbed my phone and tapped out a reply under Jasmine's post. "Isn't that Liam's old shirt? Wow, your new man is really something. Lives in Liam's house, drives Liam's car, and now he's even making you a gift out of Liam's old clothes. Is he planning to just leech off one person his whole life?" A few minutes later, Jasmine deleted the entire post. I could just imagine her fuming on the other side of the screen. I was, as always, in awe of Claire's combat skills. I pulled Claire into my lap. I wasn't sad because she's showing off. I explained, "I'm worried that guy's bad news." "I think he's bad news too," Claire agreed. "He's not a trust fund baby. He's a freeloader." I considered it, wondering if I should try to warn Jasmine. Claire patted my arm. "If you want to warn her, go ahead. Don't worry about me. Besides, I trust that you don't have any other feelings for her." I thought for a moment, then handed her my phone. I don't even know what I would say. "Why don't you send her a message from my account?" Claire took the phone and sent a simple message to Jasmine. "Be smart. Take a good look at the person you're with." To my surprise, Jasmine replied almost instantly. "Liam, you saw my posts and now you're jealous, aren't you? I knew you'd regret it eventually. If you came crawling back and begged me now, I might even consider taking you back. On one condition, you have to make that bitch Claire apologize to me." I stared at the message, my head spinning. Claire just patted my shoulder and said sagely, "Babe, you have to respect her choices. Let her face her own destiny. Drop the savior complex." After another 6 months of hard work, I finally got promoted. With the raise, I had enough for a down payment. The first thing I did was take Claire to look at houses. We saw a few places, but nothing felt right. Then, our real estate agent mentioned a property that fit our requirements perfectly. The owner was desperate to sell, and the price was low. We agreed to go see it. On the way there, the agent filled us in. The owner got scammed out of her entire life savings by her boyfriend, she explained. She's also drowning in debt from high-interest online loans. The debt collectors show up at her door every day. She can't take it anymore, so she has to sell. As she spoke, the car turned into a familiar-looking suburban neighborhood. It was a neighborhood where Jasmine and I used to live. I still couldn't believe it, right up until the agent led us to the front door. It was her old house. The door was splattered with red paint, with the words "Pay your debts" scrawled across it. The door was ajar, and the inside was a disaster. Jasmine was there, wearing a dirty pajama set, her hair a tangled mess, her face gaunt and pale. The moment she saw us, her eyes widened in shock. Then, she threw herself into my arms. Liam, I was wrong. I was so wrong to treat you that way. Please forgive me. I promise I'll be good to you. I'll change, I swear. Please take me back. I looked awkwardly at Claire. The real estate agent stood by, her eyes wide, as if she couldn't believe she was witnessing such a soap opera unfold in real life. Jasmine, I said, gently pushing her away. Claire and I are getting married. I took Claire's hand. We're here looking at houses. This is just a coincidence. Jasmine stared at me, looking utterly lost. Her face went as white as a sheet, and she suddenly collapsed onto the floor. Claire was the first to react, immediately calling 911 while performing first aid. After a chaotic few minutes, Jasmine slowly came to in hospital. The doctor said she was suffering from extreme stress and hadn't been eating properly, causing her blood sugar to crash. Claire, setting aside all our past conflicts, went out and bought her some nutritious soup. So, this is how you seduced Liam, Jasmine sneered, her voice weak. Don't say that, I said, cutting her off. But Claire just waved it off. Liam and I talked it over, she said calmly. We're willing to help you hire a lawyer to get back the money that scam artist stole from you. She paused. But that's as far as we can go. Anything more, like getting ideas about Liam, you can forget it. He's my husband now. Jasmine gave a faint, weak smile. She turned her head to look out the window as silent tears streamed down her face. Later, when Claire and I got married, we received a gift delivered by a mutual acquaintance from Jasmine. It was a car key and $10,000 in cash. The key was to the Tesla I had left her. The cash was to repay the money we had fronted for her lawyer. We heard that while Jasmine won the lawsuit, the con artist boyfriend had already spent all the money. She sold the house, moved back in with her adoptive father, found a new job, and step by step, she was rebuilding her life. Claire smiled at me. Now that Jasmine has turned over a new leaf, do you ever regret it? If she had changed sooner, maybe you too would never have divorced. I shook my head. No, maybe she was just a lesson I had to learn. Because of her, I cherish what I have now so much more. I used to lie awake night after night, tormented by the question of why she never valued my love, no matter how hard I tried. It was only later that I understood that trying to change someone, to help them grow up, is an inherently painful process. And because of that pain, I truly understood just how precious Claire was, the woman who had quietly loved me from afar, who accepted all of me, flaws and all. I squeezed Claire's hand as we walked into our future together.